Welcome to Am Refocused Radio. Today, we have another show lineup for y'all. Today's guest, she is a force of calm in a chaotic world. Her name is Simmi Chopra, and she blends the ancient healing power of Ayurveda with modern science. And she's not just talking from textbooks. She has walked this journey personally. She has a dual master's degree in molecular biology and biostatistics, and she has a personal story with her daughter. Her daughter had insulin resistance. So I want to get right into this story because what you're doing, I think is amazing. People can go to your website. You can see on the bottom of the screen. But I want to first welcome you to the show and say, Simmi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me over. It's a pleasure being here.
So kind of tell us a little bit what led you to this and what's the background story?
I was always interested in Ayurveda back in India. Um, so there's a very interesting saying that you don't find Ayurveda, Ayurveda finds you, and that's has become very true for me. Um, so after college, I got into Ayurvedic college to do my medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, but I chose to do molecular biology. And I did any problems that I had, I always went to an Ayurvedic practitioner rather than a Western science. So I used to have like severe sinusitis. Within 7 days of this therapy that the Ayurvedic doctor back in India did, which was called Nasya, and where they put herbal juices in the nose, and it cleared my sinuses. And touch wood, it's been like 40 years now. It's all over. So now going forward around when my around 20 years back when I moved to US, I had my daughter, and she was diagnosed with insulin resistance at the age of 10, and lots of other issues were going on, hormonal imbalance. I could not, my Ayurvedic doctor back in India, he had passed away, so immediately I could not find a replacement. So I started dwelling on it and then started studying. And since then, no looking back. And I did my doctor program, and now I've been practicing for the past few years. It's been a beautiful journey, though.
When you think about holistic health, a lot of people, there recently, that's been a hot topic for the past few years, at least in podcast world and radio world. For our audience, our viewers, a lot of them, they think about choosing either modern medicine or holistic healing. How do you help people understand that it's not about picking sides, but about integration?
Totally, totally. I also had last few years, I had cancer. So I did not just go into Ayurveda completely. So it has to be an integrated form. So I went through my surgery, but I refused the chemo because chemo does do a lot of damage also to the normal cells. So at that point, I decided there was a lot of pressure from my family, but I decided that no, I'm going to continue Ayurveda from this point. So I got the cancer removed, and after that, I had my just the herbs, the detox, which is a very intense. It's called Panchkarma, which is like a 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks process. So I did all that to regain the balance. So it has to be integrated. Especially, excuse me, especially with the modern diagnostic tools, which are actually amazing. So we need that, and to combine with the Ayurveda, which is holistic. It treats everyone in it. It is a very individualized approach it has. Each protocol is different from the other ones, and that is because we all are unique. We have these doshas, we call it in Ayurveda, which are like the blueprint of how we how it decides how we eat, how our lifestyle should be. Everything is dependent how we move, how we think, how we feel. Everything depends on these three principles, you can call, or three forces. That's the reason why it becomes very individualized. But on the other hand, as you said, it has to be integrated, which is what we need to get rather than choose one or the other.
And let's also talk about today's pace of life. I mean, it's super fast. I mean, everything is changing by the moment. When you consider how people apply Ayurvedic practices, um, what are some of the things that they should keep in mind? Because being realistic is one way to apply, but another way to actually know what you're doing.
True, true. I mean, if we follow by the book, it's especially if we have lots of time in our hand, it gets easy to follow the principles of Ayurveda, where we get in sync with the universe, with the nature. We eat and follow the rhythmic patterns, eat at the same time, in the same eating window, get up early, sleep late. But that's not possible for everyone. You know, people in the corporate world, the college students, people who are just starting out in a work field. There are so many deadlines. They can't sleep at the at the, the time that is needed, which is around 10 p.m. So what can they do? That's where Ayurveda can help them get into, start with small changes, but first and foremost, because they need help, they need support. So that support can come from the herbs, the therapies. There are these external oil therapies, which could be to reduce the stress. There are these, it's called Shirodhara, amazing therapies to calm the mind. Then it's not what to add. You know, these days the superfoods, it's like too much is going on about the superfoods, the fermented foods, to add them in your diet. It's not so much as what to add, it's what to avoid. And that again comes back to Ayurveda, because each person has very different needs. So if we are able to avoid the foods that trigger our problems, so that itself starts working in our favor. You know, your digestion starts working better. And when the digestion works better, then, which is now we know that the gut and brain are connected. So our brain starts calming down, our mind starts calming down, so that we can handle the stresses of life. So for people who are in the corporate world and the college students and all, for when they come to me, I don't tell them to do drastic changes, like small changes. You know, small one is about how to add some spices, spice tea, digestive teas, and then some herbs and all, and maybe weekly detox, which is much easier than doing daily. Adding and if they can do a daily care of their senses, because senses are also they are the gateway to your mind. So if you're able to take care of your senses by doing small things like nasya, which is I had mentioned early, but that was like a detox therapy. If you can just put sesame oil or coconut oil in your nose, that helps, it goes to balance your HPA axis, and it starts calming your mind, and a lot of other things, hormone, it starts balancing your hormones too. Then there's this oil pulling, which has become very popular here. So these small things they can do daily. Weekly, they can do like a weekly mild purgation, so that they can remove all the, the gunk that we end up eating, and or intermittent fasting, but not to the extent where people are doing it for years or months. Just maybe skip the breakfast so that you can you get your digestion back to normal. Once they start doing these small changes, then they are more motivated to maybe sleep a little earlier. So say they are sleeping at 12 at night or 1. So maybe just half an hour before, and then wake up half an hour early, and whatever the deadline is, you can work, you can complete it that at that time. So basically you have to tweak it. For these people it gets a little tricky, but once they get a support, once they see the changes happening in their gut, in their whatever inflammation starts slowing down, they get motivated to follow the rhythms of nature, and then being in sync with the world, with the universe, with their body.
Once again, listen, I'm Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to Simmi Chopra. And when you think about how you talk about people doing it in moderation, you hear a lot of training things like people getting to sea moss and turmeric and other things. What are some of the benefits you see in those hot things that you see trending on TikTok, if you will? And what are some actual factual things that you see that they can do that, but also correctly have a balanced approach?
Yes. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So these days I'm doing these series on Insta, YouTube, and all. It's like Mythbusters. So where these days in social media, people are getting so confused. Everyone is posting about have this digestive tea. Everything is going to be solved. But there are a lot of problems there because spices, even let's start with turmeric. Turmeric is very drying and heating. So the way people are having it, especially if they're just putting it in water and mixing it, one, it's not going to do what it's supposed to do. So the active ingredients do not come out. And then because it's drying and heating for people who already have um, let's say skin problems or something, or too much degeneration and all, just by that it's not going to work. Turmeric has to be mixed with the proper ghee, the oil, and black pepper. So people are popping capsules. That also doesn't work properly because the herbs, they have not just curcumin, they have other chemicals which balance this curcumin. So it's better to have it in the actual form. And then I see on TikTok like digestive teas where they'll say, boil five spices. And one of them would be like, say, cumin, fennel, which is great. But carom seeds, which are extremely heating. And then people they start getting mouth ulcers, skin rashes, and all. It's because it's not for everyone, because even spices are supposed to be individualized. You have to make every protocol according to the person's needs. So that's why it's better not to just follow the trend. Look a little deeper, go to an Ayurvedic practitioner, find out what your imbalances are so that they are able to give you at least a framework where you can then choose the right things rather than make it go worse.
You also talk about how breaking free from the all or nothing mindset. When you see people who are hungry about having different approaches in their healthcare, why do you believe so many people fall into that trap with their health, and how can they start undoing that?
Yeah, so especially these days with the diet, new diets coming up, and either people will go into a full protein diet, or a lot of people go into the keto diet. All those uh, or eventually are damaging. You'll see a change initially, but eventually it has a toll on you. They are even research has come up now. People, let's talk about fasting because that's one thing that has really picked up in the last few years. The intermittent fasting. It is good, but how you do it. If you're doing it for months at a stretch and you're eating only, let's say, within the 6 hour period, and when is that 6 hour period that you're choosing? All that matters. Um, in the research, it's shown that if you prolong it too long, there's a cell death pathway that gets triggered. So there's a cell type 1 death, that pathway that happens, which is good. It clears away all the gunk, you can say. But eventually, after prolonged period, the type 2 cell death starts, and which causes, in normal terms, we can say it will kind of remove your healthy tissue, so healthy cells. So which is what we see down the road, the degeneration kicks in. So people have to be very careful of what they're doing. Anything in extreme is bad. Extreme eating is bad. So is extreme fasting. So, and coming back to the different diets, like people do either go crazy with the fermented food or the superfoods, the seeds and all. Seeds need to be soaked. And just having it like that creates a problem. And there was a reason why people were back in, our older generations, they were soaking lentils, rice, seeds and all. Because one is, if we just talk in heating and cooling terms, it removed the heat. But if we talk about in science, they remove the lectins, the toxins and all are removed, and the protein content, especially in legumes, in lentils, that increases. So all these are needed rather than an approach where you just go, very focused on one path. And you need a balance of fats, carbohydrates, proteins. You need everything. You need good fats. Your nerves, the covering of the nerves is all fat. It's myelin sheath. So you require fat. When people remove fat from the diet, eventually it takes a toll on them. I've seen clients where it's sad that nerves have degenerated because of all these long term fixated on one kind of a diet.
And when you think about how people can be overloaded with information, they sometimes are overwhelmed with just taking that one initial step to what they can do about their health. When you think about someone who's watching this or listening to us, what's that small step that they can start doing today to start moving that needle to better health?
So if they have time, the best thing is to follow the rhythm of nature. Wake up around sunrise. That is the time when even the modern science says the cortisol is rising, and then it gives enough time for the melatonin to rise in the evening so that you get a good sleep around 10 p.m. And the sleep should be at least minimum 5 to 6 hours of continuous sleep. Again, research is also saying the same thing. So if we can sleep and wake up at the perfect time, wake up around 5 6 a.m., sleep around 10 p.m., have your heaviest meal at lunch when the sun is at its peak, your digestive power is at its peak. So have your proteins, anything you want to indulge, you can have it at that time. And your breakfast and dinner should be light. So you can have breakfast half carbs, half proteins. In the dinner, soups or sauteed vegetables and all. So when you have your digestion is smooth, you'll sleep well, and just these small changes are going to bring them back to health.
When you think about mental health, that's also a hot topic nowadays. When thinking about mental health with physical wellness, what role do you believe Ayurveda plays that might surprise people?
True. So, as we know nowadays that with the recent research that brain and gut is connected. So if your gut is doing well, your food is getting assimilated most efficiently. So and through that vagus nerve, your brain is also now working in. It's the mind is calm, the brain is working efficiently, so mind becomes calm. And we have seen that when the mind is not working properly, your gut starts, you might have symptoms like diarrhea, nausea, and all. So they are very connected. So if your gut is good, your mind is good. Then senses. Second thing is taking care of your senses, the five senses. If because they are the gateway to your mind. We filter all the information through our senses, through our eyes, nose, mouth, ear. So if we can include small things like take care of our eyes, take care of our nose, take care of our mouth. Again, there are external therapies that Ayurveda offers to calm the mind. Like I mentioned, Shirodhara, there's Netra Tarpan. I'm using these Sanskrit terms. So these are basically lots of herbal oils are used, which kind of seep in through your skin and or your mucus layer if we are doing that oil pilling, and they all the nerves are connected to your brain, so they start calming the mind. So we can approach it from two ways. One is through these external therapies, taking care of our senses, this or just abhyanga, oil massage through your skin, and second is through your gut. So and of course meditation. We all know about the benefits of meditation. So in three ways we can bring the stress level down. So another thing is if we wake up in the morning, sunrise. So there's just before sunrise, there's this Brahm Muhurat, we call it. It's the most auspicious time. If we wake up at that time, just a few minutes of deep breathing, we call it pranayam and meditation. It's going to help you deal with the stresses of the day. So just these small things, if they can do daily, it's going to help them with the daily stresses.
And speaking of daily stresses, when you mentioned lowering your stress, a lot of people hear stuff about like deep breathing and all that. How much should a person be concerned about doing those type of meditations? And Is it too much at times that a person can use it, or does it really matter? What's your opinion, or what's the facts on that?
So, I mean, initially, it's great to start small in small steps because when you're not used to anything, it does, your body needs that adjustment. Your mind also needs adjustment. So, start with the breathing, the pranayams, and the meditation, small stage. And then if you want to go really deep into it, you need a guru, you need a teacher to guide you through those meditations. Just like we need a teacher to teach us, math and science and all, we also need a teacher at that time. But this is when you're going really deep into meditation. So it's always best to have a guru then.
We're talking to Simmi Chopra here on Am Refocused Radio. This has been a masterclass, so I appreciate your time being on the program today. Going back to detox programs, you are not just customizing detox programs, but lifestyle resets and also therapies. What would it look like on day one when someone starts working with you? Is there a process where you just kind of fill out, how they feeling, what's going on in their world? What does that look like on day one when they start understanding resources that you have available?
So it's like a 1 hour consultation where I assess them Ayurvedically. A lot of questions are asked. Again, they may come for just a small skin rash, but because our body is like a billion-piece puzzle, and every part is connected. So that rash is not just happening on your arm, just out of the blue. It could be an insect bite, but when it's happening too often. So there's something happening inside. So I'll ask questions on the gut. Everything is taken care of. And I'll guide them with the diet and lifestyle changes according to what the imbalance is for them, and give them herbs like supplements to start balancing it. So this is if we are doing only if the person is not it's not a very chronic problem. If it is a very chronic problem like autoimmune and those kind of problems, then the best way that I suggest is to do a panchkarma, which I mentioned earlier, which is like I guess I should say it's like a 3 months process, because there's before, there's a after, where you have to be very careful of your diet and how you do it. At that time, one has to be really strict about it. And then the 1 month period where is the actual, panchkarma, the detox, where we remove all the toxins and we reset your body so that all the inflammation that starts going down, and then we give you rejuvenating, even in both even if we are doing the panchkarma or the intense detox, or when they come for just normal procedure, we always give these rejuvenating herbs. We call it rasayana. So these are very potent herbal ghees, or they could be in jam form, which rejuvenates the tissue so that the problem doesn't keep happening. So it becomes a very elaborate process. And if people are coming for pain or stress, then we add the external therapies also, the oil therapies that I was talking about.
And when you think about the older part of the generation, what are some ways that they can be on top of the quality of their health? Because obviously, as you age, things get a little complicated. But what are some of the things that you've seen or that you suggest to maybe older clients, if you will?
So again, the first and foremost is most of them are suffering from digestive problems. So to add a few spices, but mild ones, because they are in that stage where they can't tolerate too much of harsh or strong, I should say strong, even spices. So start on the digestion by including some digestive teas. So one is, which I tell all the clients, including people who are reaching that age, to start removing small things like cold water, salads, smoothies. All these things should be removed because they do cause problems in the gut. Then oil massage, especially as we age. It's really needed. So a good, especially Ayurvedic herbal massages, which have a little bit of that lymphatic drainage in it. Um, so these two things they can add. Then again, I really emphasize taking care of senses because we ignore that, and we have seen as we age, small things happen like gums are receding, eyes, cataract is happening, they can't hear. So all these can be controlled by, of course, external therapies in Ayurveda. But for at home, what can they do is they can do that nasya. They can put one drop of sesame oil in the nose. Then they can use sesame oil or coconut oil to do oil pulling, gandusha we call it. Hold the oil for like 2 minutes and then spit it out. So that removes all the toxins and starts strengthening your gums. So these are two, three things they can do. Then sleep becomes a problem for them. So they can apply sesame oil again on the sole of their feet, behind the ears, around the ears. And there's this, we call it bregma. It's like, it's on top of the head. It's like, what do you call? It's called bregma. It's the soft point which we had as a child. If we apply, again, you can apply sesame oil. All these calm you and help you go to sleep. So these are the few things which start becoming a problem as we age. And a good quality of ghee, good quality of oil is required because we need that good fat in us. And as we age, we know that things are degenerating. But there's a caution on that. I've seen a lot of people are following celebrities where they are taking ghee, empty stomach, 1 teaspoon of coconut oil or ghee first thing in the morning, which is a trend these days. It's great if you are able to digest it. So if, celebrities, they have nutritionists, they have dietitians on them 24/7. So they are keeping track of their digestion is good. So they're able to digest this ghee. People who are already, let's say, they already have weight gain problems, their digestion is not good. So if you're going to have first thing in the morning, 1 teaspoon of ghee, you're not going to be able to digest it. You could, you may not. So if you cannot, then it gets worsened. So first and foremost, you have to clear your channels. So imagine a drain. It's clogged with all gunk. And then you start pouring more food or water in it. It's going to overflow. So that's what's happening. If everything is clogged inside us, and then we are putting in, these, even the ashwagandhas and all that are being very popular. So it'll give you some effect initially, the ghees and all, but eventually it's going to cause more clogging.
Wow. That's good information. Once again, listen to Am Refocused Radio, watching this online, talking to our guest today, Simmi Chopra, and talking about Ayurveda and modern science. Everything that she's been saying, you can check out the website link below. But to you, I want to say for those who are listening, watching us online, if they want to find out more information, how they can get started with you, what's the best process for them to get started today?
So they can book an appointment at through my website or through email, simmichopra@sidhayur.com. They can follow me on Facebook, on Insta and YouTube, where a lot of the information is given in a more elaborate way, especially about digestion, about the rhythms. We call it following the Ayurveda clock. So just by doing that, by following the Ayurveda clock, by taking care of your digestion, you'll see a lot of changes in your health. So you can follow me on that. You can book an appointment to kickstart your journey to health.
Well, once again, been listening to Am Refocused Radio and watching us online. I want to say to you, Simmi Chopra, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.